What? Nancy Pelosi has retired? Oh my god, where am I gonna get my insider trading signals from? Ah yeah, Jim Cramer is still around. No worries, I'll just do inverse Cramer. Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Dan and in this video I will be going over the weekly analysis, what I expect personally for us in the next week, what is going to happen to the market, in which way and which direction should we take trades to, and also we're gonna go over some news, some technicals, analysis for both crypto or Bitcoin and also Nasdaq 100. So please stay tuned, there's a lot of interesting info coming your way, and without further ado, let's head to the PC. Okay guys, we are going to start as always with Nasdaq 100 technical analysis. So what do we have here? As I've said last week and the week before that, here we reclaimed finally on the weekly chart, we have reclaimed the EMA 200, which was around 11,500. So finally guys, we managed to reclaim it, and see, we even reclaimed the EMA 20 on the weekly chart, which was at around 11,580, depending of course on the broker that you're using. So we are above both of the EMAs on the weekly chart. We ended up a week above, which is a good sign. Okay, so this is a good sign. And as I've said, we had a small pullback last week, which I called again, and then we managed to reclaim both of the EMAs. We ended up a week in green, which is good. We have the momentum, we have the strength. Can we keep it up? And what is the support for this kind of movement? So what are the indicators telling us? On a weekly chart, we have a small slight hidden bearish divergence on a weekly chart on MACD only, not on RSI, so that's not good enough. Okay, let's zoom into the 1-day chart and see if there's anything here. On RSI we do have a hidden bearish divergence, however on MACD we do not have it. Okay, only one indicator giving a signal is not that strong. Okay, we want to see double signals, so we want to see both MACD and RSI giving us that hidden bearish divergence in order to consider it very strong. Okay, so basically the signal is the same as last week. On the 4-hour chart we don't have anything as well. We are seeing both of the indicators converging, basically following the price action, so nothing on 4-hour chart. Let's see in 1-hour chart, do we have anything? Okay, on the 1-hour chart the situation is a bit different. All right guys, so see clearly on 1-hour chart we do have a very nice hidden bearish divergence. So on the 1-hour chart we have two signals telling us that we are expecting a pullback, which makes sense. Okay, because we've been pushing on Friday quite hard, right? Where do I expect pullback to? So let's go back to the weekly chart. I would expect this pullback, if it happens, to go and retest again EMA 200 on a weekly chart, which is 11,500. all right, so I would not expect it to go lower if we're about to keep the bullish momentum. All right, if we just go down and break this area over here, that means it's going to be a false break, and that means that this push and momentum was just purely based on technicals and stop loss hunting and stuff like that. Okay, so it wasn't anything fundamental. Let me just zoom in even further. I would expect for the price to go somewhere over here, retest the EMA 200, maybe just break it for a little bit, and then the next one that we need to retest is of course the EMA 50 on a weekly chart, which should be somewhere around maybe 12,200 or so. Let's see, let's wait and see how it's gonna go. Probably we're not gonna retest these areas right over here at the moment. We might even pull back and go a bit lower, but I'm not sure, to be honest, because the momentum is very strong. So for Nasdaq, if you ask me personally, I do not have a clear vision what's gonna happen. Yes, I do expect a small pullback, as I've showed you on 1-hour chart, that we should have technically a small pullback, but just to retest the 11,500 area over here, then we would need to continue upwards if we're going to keep up with the bullish momentum. Okay, so that was it for Nasdaq. Let's move on to Bitcoin. Now for Bitcoin, on a weekly chart, we are now currently trying to test the EMA 200, which is at around 23,700. Bitcoin is quite strong. See how we had this very nice bullish pump, but my prediction for Bitcoin is that we're going to test this EMA 200 right right over here. We might break it. We might even have a small push right over here to retest the EMA 50 on a weekly chart as well, which is going to be at 25,000. But I believe that's gonna be our top, and I believe that's gonna be the max price that we're gonna go for Bitcoin at the moment, that we're gonna be stopped somewhere around 25,000. And then two scenarios: if we get stopped at around 23, 4 or 5,000, so somewhere here in this area, we're gonna either consolidate and then wait for a bit, accumulate for the next move, which of course is going to be either for an upside or is going to be downside move. I'm quite sure that the first big test is, and the first big stop is going to be here, the EMA 200 at around 23,700. So I really expect a pullback there, and if we manage to break it and go all the way up to 25,000, I really believe we're not gonna go higher than that in a short-term period, unless something changes and some big fundamental changes happen. I don't see us going anywhere higher than that, and that was also our previous high, so around 25,000. Let's just zoom in on a daily chart and see if there's anything happening. Basically, MACD is not giving us anything. However, on MACD there's already a bearish divergence. Okay, so the MACD is telling us that we will have a pullback, and once again, same as last week, I do expect a slight pullback before a continuation of the move to the upside. At the next week opening, I expect Bitcoin to pull back a bit, and then we are going to have a push to test the 24,000 and then finally 25,000. And I do believe that after that we're going to go lower. People will take profit at that area. Then it's just remain to be seen afterwards. Are we going to range, and where we're gonna end up afterwards? Because as I believe that after a period of range, which is actually accumulation, like this whole area over here that we have, okay, you have big moves, either to the upside or to the downside. So to sum it up, for both Nasdaq and Bitcoin, again, as the last week, I expect small pullback and then continuation of the trend to the upside. For Bitcoin, I expect max 25,000 before people start taking profits massively. And for Nasdaq, I really do believe that if we're about to push higher, the first target is going to be at around 12,000, then around 12,200. But I really doubt that we're going to break to 12,200 and this 50 EMA over here. And if we do, that means literally you were back in the bull run. Okay, I really highly doubt it, so I expect a small pullback, retest of 11,500, and then continuation of higher or more bullish momentum. Now let's go over some last week's reports that happened. So basically, Monday there was nothing, US market was closed. There was a lot of things for Europe, but we're not that interested in Europe. Okay, now on Wednesday we had a PPI report, all right, which came in lower. Both core PPI and PPI year on year, they came lower. 6.2 versus 6.8, and also 5.5 versus 5.7. Basically, month on month, it came in minus 1.1% lower. This is the producer price index, okay, which gives us the inflation measurement and tells us how is the inflation in the producer area. So basically, this is good. Lower inflation measurements are always good for us and for stocks, and that's why we had this kind of a push. And also retail sales came a bit lower, which is bad. Basically, that means that the people aren't spending that much money because they don't have it, right? Which is logical. And that was it. We had a lot of FOMC members talk afterwards. Then on Thursday, there was a surprise. I mean, it's already been a while, but initial jobless claims came 190,000. Basically, the job market or the labor market is still very tight or very hot, whatever you want to call it. 190,000 is not good for stocks. Let's see, there's big companies laying off a lot of people like Microsoft, Google, I believe 12,000 each, and that should actually influence a bit. We're gonna see it every single week, and just keep monitoring initial jobless claims. If it comes as expected or higher than expected, I believe we're gonna have some bullish momentum right in the price. So this is the thing that could push the prices higher. And on Friday, nothing interesting. Existing home sales, basically that doesn't influence Nasdaq as much. Let's move on to the next week reports. Monday, nothing important, just European reports coming out. Tuesday, also nothing major coming up, mostly Europe. Wednesday, also nothing happening, only crude oil inventories for you guys who are trading oil. Finally, Thursday is going to be a big day with a lot of interesting reports. Again, it's going to be initial jobless claims which should show higher than 205 this time, and if it does, I believe we're gonna have some nice bullish momentum. GDP for quarter 4 initial report is going to be reflected, so this report together with initial jobless claims and also core durable good orders, like these 3 reports are going to be affecting Nasdaq and S&P 500 a lot, okay? So I mean the whole US market. Also new home sales, not that much. Pay attention to initial jobless claims, pay attention to GDP, and pay attention to core durable goods order. Anyways, all 3 are going to come out at the same time, so the reaction of the market is going to be very oriented on GDP and also initial jobless claims. GDP because it shows us if we are in recession, and initial jobless claims, of course, to see how labor market is performing. Is it still very tight and hot, or is showing a signs of relief? Now let's move on to earnings calendar. As we can see, Monday 23rd of Jan, we have some companies reporting: Baker Hughes, Brown & Brown, etc., Logitech. Nothing that's going to target Nasdaq. I'm going to be mostly focused on Nasdaq because I trade Nasdaq only, right? Different companies affect different indexes, mostly S&P 500. Now on Tuesday, we're going to have Microsoft, and this is going to be a very important one to see how Microsoft performed, and this will affect Nasdaq. It can make it or break it as well. Then on Wednesday, followed by Tesla. Tesla again is going to be a very big earnings report for Nasdaq, and we see how the market will react. Prior to it, we might push higher in expectation of good reports from both Microsoft and Tesla, but then we might just break down if the reports are bad. Then on Thursday, we have Visa, MasterCard, Intel. Okay, Intel is going to affect as well Nasdaq a lot. Friday, nothing interesting for Nasdaq, but a lot for energy and a lot for S&P 500. Let's see how Microsoft will perform, how Intel, how Tesla, how these big guys will show their earnings report. Layoffs and staff cuts should reflect as good thing in their balance sheet, because obviously they have less people to pay now. Okay, we leave the rest to the market analyst, and we're gonna move on to some news. So we're gonna start off with US hits debt ceiling as partisan standoff sparks economic worries. Basically, the US government hit its 31.4 trillion borrowing limit on Thursday, and now there's a huge discussion between the both Republicans and Democrats, like are we supposed to increase the debt ceiling limit, or we should just default on our debt, which basically is never going to happen. Okay, the US will not default on their debt. Okay, the biggest economy in the world will not default on their debt. They'll just keep increasing the ceiling as they always do, and it's just a farce again for us small people and regular people. Oh, to be scared. Oh, I don't know if we're gonna maybe be defaulting on our debt. What's gonna happen? Man, they're just gonna increase the debt ceiling, and that's it. They're just gonna keep borrowing until, I don't know, 50 or 100 trillion or whatever. And whoever tells you different, they're just bullshitting you and lying you, and that's fact. The US will not default on their debt. They will always keep increasing the debts, but there has to be some kind of a discussion. The Republicans and Democrats, they both need to show why they're getting their salaries. Of course, they need to go there and just be clowns, right, and fool people. So that's about it about the US debt ceiling, and let's move on now to some crypto news. Nothing great coming out of crypto. Crypto lender Genesis files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So finally, Genesis filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and the firm has estimated liabilities of 1 billion to 10 billion and assets in the same range, according to the January 19 filing. Basically, they're just waiting for a response from Barry Silbert, and he's giving them a cold shower, and I think obviously Genesis is going down the drain together with Gemini, which is not a good thing, but also is a good thing that the market is actually quite strong and it's holding off quite strong. Things like this, when they stop really impacting the market and really pushing the price lower, that means that we're in good position and that the market finally is going to create a strong support level at these areas, and people are actually confident in crypto and in other exchanges like Binance, of course. So so much FUD going around Binance, but I believe that is the most trusted exchange out there. I might be wrong, it might collapse tomorrow, and then you're gonna say, oh, but you said they're the most trusted. Yeah, I don't know. For me, they are. I've been investing with Binance for a long time. I've been taking out money, crypto, everything together, never had a single problem, always fast, reliable. So I highly suggest Binance as your number one cryptocurrency broker and exchange. Basically, that was about it. Those were the news for today. Let's just go a quick recap. I believe that Nasdaq will pull back, retest 11,500, and then continue to push higher. And I believe Bitcoin is going to do something similar, come to 23,000, then pull back, then try to break it, and then go up to 25k. And I don't think we're gonna push higher than 25k. Of course, the bearish scenario would be just us coming here to this area and then bouncing back, coming back down to around 20k, okay, and retesting this EMA 20 or this area of demand. Okay guys, that was all it for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're going to make some money in the next week. If you have any questions, suggestions, please feel free to leave them down in the comment below. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You'll mean a lot to me. I'll keep making these videos for you together with some lessons that I'm preparing, so stay tuned for more. I wish you a good day and enjoy.